Space was quiet, too quiet. The ship Odyssey floated through the dark sea of stars, its silver hull reflecting distant lights. For the crew inside, every blink of a star outside was a reminder that they were far from home. Humanity had finally reached beyond the known borders of space, exploring systems no one had ever seen before. Captain Leon Hayes stood at the front observation deck, hands behind his back. He was a tall man in his mid-30s, calm but always alert. His dark eyes studied the giant holographic map in front of him. The Odyssey was Earth's pride, the first long-range exploration vessel built to travel beyond the Milky Way's edge. It carried 200 crew members, scientists, engineers, and soldiers, all united under one goal, to find life beyond Earth. And today, they had found it. "Captain," said Commander Iris Valen, the second in command, walking briskly to his side. "Long-range scanners have detected a structure ahead. It's not an asteroid." Leon turned his head slightly. "How big?" "Roughly 40 kilometers wide," she replied, tapping her wrist pad to show a projection, "and moving at a steady course." "It's not a planet. It's a ship," the words hung in the air. "A ship, not human, not from Earth." The crew around the deck froze for a moment before the room filled with quiet murmurs. Leon raised his voice, steady and clear. "Quiet, everyone. Bring it on screen." The main display shimmered and an image appeared. What they saw was breathtaking. A massive structure glowing with blue and white light shaped like a blooming flower. Its surface looked alive, with lines of energy pulsing across it like veins. It was beautiful and strange and clearly not made by human hands. Iris whispered, "That thing's bigger than our entire fleet." Leon nodded slowly. "Send a signal." Universal greeting protocol. A soft beep echoed as the communication systems activated. They transmitted humanity's standard greeting message, a peaceful signal written in every mathematical form, sound wave, and image pattern humans could imagine. For a few tense moments, nothing happened. Then, the alien ship responded. A glowing wave of light crossed its surface and a deep, harmonious tone filled the speakers. It wasn't noise, it was music, layered and structured, rising and falling like a living voice. The crew stared, spellbound. "Is that a message?" someone whispered. Leon replied softly, "I think it's a welcome." The communication officer nodded. "They're responding to our signal, Captain." Requesting visual contact, Leon took a slow breath. "Patch it through." The screen changed. At first there was only bright light, then slowly a figure appeared. Tall, elegant, and surrounded by a gentle blue aura. Her skin shimmered like polished silver, her eyes glowing softly like two moons. Around her head floated delicate strands of light, moving like hair underwater. The bridge fell silent. Every human stared, unsure what they were seeing. The figure spoke. Her voice was calm, musical, and surprisingly clear. "Greetings, travelers from the third world of Sol. I am Sarilith, Queen of the Thalara Dominion. You stand before our migration fleet. Identify your leader." Leon stepped forward. "I am Captain Leon Hayes of the Earthship Odyssey. On behalf of humanity, I greet you in peace." For a moment, the alien woman studied him closely. Her silver eyes shimmered. Then, to everyone's shock, she tilted her head slightly and asked, in perfect English, "Are you single?" The entire command deck went silent. Some tried to hide their laughter. Others looked completely confused. Leon blinked twice, unsure if he had heard correctly. "I'm sorry," he said carefully. "Could you repeat that?" Sarilith's expression didn't change. "Are you single?" she repeated, her voice calm but curious. "Your translation systems are functioning correctly, yes?" Leon looked helplessly at Iris, who was biting her lip to stop from smiling. The communication officer was trying not to laugh out loud. Leon cleared his throat. Yes, the systems are fine, but could you clarify what you mean by that question?" The Queen blinked slowly, as if realizing there might be confusion. Then a small smile curved on her lips. Perhaps your customs are different." In our language, asking one's bonding status is a polite greeting. It means, "Are you open for dialogue or alliance?" The crew burst into quiet laughter of relief. Leon smiled politely. I see." "Then yes, Your Majesty. Humanity is open for dialogue." "Excellent," Sarilith said with a faint smile. "Then let us begin." The connection closed, leaving the humans staring at each other in a mix of surprise and amusement. "Well," Iris said, finally letting out a laugh. Congratulations, Captain. You just got asked out by an alien queen. Leon sighed, rubbing his temples. Let's hope she meant it politically. But the truth was, the moment stuck in everyone's mind. The first words ever spoken by an alien to a human, "Are you single?" spread quickly through the ship. Within hours, every crew member was joking about it. It was the strangest, funniest, and most historic moment in human history. Later that day, Leon sat alone in his private cabin, replaying the message on his tablet. The Queen's face appeared again, calm and full of grace. There was something about her, the way she spoke, the way she looked at him, that made him feel uneasy yet intrigued. "Are you single?" she said again in the recording. He chuckled quietly. "This is going to haunt me forever." His door chimed and Iris entered. "Captain, the Thalara have invited us aboard their flagship. They want to hold a formal meeting." Leon set down his tablet. "Already?" That was fast. "They said the Queen herself requested it, and she asked for you specifically." Leon raised an eyebrow. "Me?" Iris smirked. "Looks like you made an impression," he sighed. "Wonderful." The next day, a small shuttle left Odyssey and approached the alien flagship. The closer they came, the more they realized how massive it truly was. Its surface was like a living organism. Parts of it moved and pulsed as though it were breathing. Light ran through the veins of metal like rivers under glass. As the shuttle docked, a soft blue mist filled the airlock. The human team, Leon, Iris, and 3 scientists, stepped out carefully wearing their environmental suits. But to their surprise, the air was breathable. The mist was warm, carrying a faint scent like flowers and rain. Alien figures waited for them, tall, graceful beings of silver and light. They bowed slightly, their eyes glowing faintly. Then from between them the Queen appeared. Saralith walked forward with calm confidence. She wore a flowing gown that shimmered like liquid starlight. Her expression was composed, yet her gaze rested on Leon with quiet curiosity. "Captain Hayes," she said, her voice gentle. "It is an honor to meet the leader of a young and brave species." Leon bowed respectfully. "The honor is ours, Your Majesty." She studied him again, almost as if trying to understand something beyond words. "You carry yourself with strength," she said softly. "Your heart beats fast, not out of fear, but caution." "I can sense it," Leon blinked. "You can sense my heart?" "We feel emotions as vibrations in the air," Saralith explained. "It helps us understand intent. I sense honesty in you." He nodded slowly. "Then I hope our meeting proves that humans come in peace." Her lips curved into a small smile. "We shall see." The meeting lasted hours. They spoke of their worlds, their histories, and their goals. The Thalara explained they were travelers searching for a new home after their son had died. Humanity, in turn, offered knowledge, help, and curiosity. But through it all, Saralith's attention never seemed to stray far from Leon. Sometimes, she asked questions that were not on the agenda, about human art, family, and even feelings. Leon answered politely, unsure if it was diplomacy or something else. When the humans finally returned to Odyssey, the crew cheered. It was official. First contact had been made peacefully. That night, as the ship drifted beside the glowing alien fleet, Leon stood at the window again, watching the stars. He thought of the Queen's calm eyes and strange words, "Are you single?" He whispered to himself with a quiet laugh. Of all the things to start a friendship with, he didn't know it yet, but that one question would change the fate of 2 species, and his life, forever. The days following first contact were unlike anything the crew of Odyssey had ever experienced. Humanity's first meeting with an alien civilization had not only gone peacefully but had also become the biggest story in the galaxy. Back on Earth, every news channel showed the same headline: "Alien Queen asks human captain, are you single?" For most people, it was funny. For Captain Leon Hayes, it was exhausting. Every time he entered the ship's cafeteria, someone would smile and whisper jokes. His crew had even started calling him Ambassador Romeo, but Leon didn't mind too much. He knew humor was their way of handling the pressure. They were in unknown space, dealing with a species far more advanced than humans. A little laughter helped everyone stay calm. Still, one thing bothered him: the Queen's tone when she spoke. It wasn't just curiosity or formality. There had been a certain warmth in her voice, something almost personal. The Odyssey and the Thalara flagship Serenity's crown now floated side by side near a bright blue planet. The two ships exchanged scientific data, and both crews began studying each other's technology. For the first time in human history, two intelligent species worked together in peace. Leon stood in the main hall, watching as Thalara engineers and human scientists discussed energy systems. The Thalara were graceful, their voices calm and musical. They moved as if time flowed slower for them. One of the Thalara engineers noticed Leon watching and approached him. "Your species is full of energy," the alien said in a soft, echoing voice. "You speak loudly, move quickly, and laugh often." Leon smiled politely. "That's humans for you. We're not as elegant as your people." The alien tilted its head. "Our queen seems to think highly of you." "That is unusual." "Unusual?" Leon asked. "Yes," the Thalara replied. "Her Majesty rarely shows interest in outsiders. Yet she speaks of you often, your bravery, your direct way of speaking, even your eyes. Some among us are curious about her reason." Leon blinked, unsure how to respond. "She's kind," he said simply. "Maybe she's just being friendly." The Thalara bowed slightly. "Perhaps. Or perhaps she sees something more." The alien turned and left, leaving Leon staring into space, wondering what that meant. Later that evening, Leon received a private message. "Captain Hayes, this is Queen Saralith. I wish to speak with you alone." The message included coordinates to a quiet chamber aboard Serenity's Crown. Leon hesitated. He was a soldier, not a diplomat. Private meetings with alien queens weren't exactly standard procedure, but curiosity got the better of him. When his shuttle docked, two tall guards guided him through glowing corridors. The walls shimmered like glass filled with stars. Finally, they stopped at a circular room filled with soft blue light. Saralith stood in the center, wearing a gown that seemed to shift colors like moonlight over water. "Welcome, Captain," she said, her voice gentle. "Please walk with me." He followed her through a garden of glowing plants and silver fountains. The air smelled faintly of fresh rain. It was peaceful, almost like being inside a dream. "I wanted to thank you," she said as they walked. "Your people have shown great patience and respect." "Not all species we meet offer friendship first," Leon nodded. "We came to explore, not to fight. Humanity has made mistakes in the past. We don't want to repeat them." Saralith smiled softly. "You speak wisely for someone so young. Your spirit is strong. I can feel it." He looked at her curiously. "You said that before, that you can feel emotions." "Yes," she said. "To us, emotion is a form of energy. Each feeling has a sound, a vibration. Yours is unique. It is bright." Leon laughed lightly. "Bright, huh? That's a new compliment." Saralith tilted her head, studying him. "Do humans not share emotions through energy?" "We show them with words, gestures, and actions," he explained. "Sometimes too strongly." "Perhaps that is why I find your kind fascinating," she said. "You live with intensity. You burn like stars even when the darkness surrounds you." Her words were calm but carried emotion. Leon found it hard to look away. For a moment, neither spoke. The only sound was the gentle hum of the ship. Then Saralith changed the subject. "Our fleet searches for a new home. Our world was destroyed when our sun collapsed. We have traveled for centuries. I'm sorry," Leon said quietly. "There is no need for sorrow," she replied, "but we are tired. My people long for peace. Your planet, Earth, it seems alive, full of energy. Perhaps one day we may visit?" Leon smiled slightly. "We'd welcome you, though it's not as peaceful as it looks from space." "I believe no world is," Saralith said softly. "But peace is not found in planets. It is found in hearts." Her gaze lingered on him for a moment longer than expected. Then she looked away. "Forgive me. I speak too personally. That is not proper between leaders." "It's fine," Leon said. "You can speak freely." "I don't mind." Her lips curved into a gentle smile. "You are very human, Captain Hayes. That is a compliment." While Leon met privately with Saralith, the Odyssey's crew grew restless. Commander Iris Valen wasn't happy about the captain's one-on-one meetings. She trusted Leon completely but didn't trust the Thalara. She gathered the science team. "We need to be careful," she said. "The Queen might be genuine, but some of her council members seem wary of us. They've been scanning our ship since we arrived." Dr. Marcus, the ship's chief scientist, frowned. "Do you think they're looking for something?" "I don't know," Iris said. "But until we understand their real intentions, we keep our guard up." Back in the Queen's chamber, Saralith showed Leon a large glowing orb floating in the air. Inside it were moving stars, a miniature map of the galaxy. This, she said, is the path of our migration. We have traveled through hundreds of systems. Many worlds rejected us. Some feared us. Others tried to destroy us. Leon looked at the map with awe. You've been running for a long time. Yes, she said. We had nearly given up hope, until your signal reached us. You were not the first intelligent life we found, but you were the first to greet us with peace. Leon felt a strange warmth in his chest. Then I'm glad we found each other. Saralith turned toward him, her silver eyes glowing softly. I am glad too. For a moment, their gazes met again, and something unspoken passed between them. Leon wasn't sure what it was, curiosity, friendship, or something deeper. But before he could think about it, an alarm echoed through the chamber. The walls flashed red, and the sound of rushing footsteps filled the corridor. A Thalara guard ran in. Your Majesty, we have detected a massive energy surge nearby. Saralith straightened. From where? Unknown, Majesty. It's approaching fast, a dark wave of unstable energy. Leon turned sharply. A natural phenomenon? The guard shook his head. We cannot identify it. It consumes energy fields. It may destroy both ships. Saralith's calm expression hardened. Prepare all shields. Send warning to the human vessel. Leon activated his communicator. Odyssey, this is Hayes. Do you read? Iris's voice came through tense. Loud and clear, Captain. We're detecting the same surge. It's huge. Looks like a storm of raw energy. Leon glanced at Saralith. What's your defense capacity? Our fleet shields can absorb limited energy, but not for long, she said. If it reaches us, both our ships may be lost. Leon took a deep breath. Then we'll have to face it together. Saralith nodded slowly. Together, then. Hours later, the dark wave appeared on the horizon, a swirling storm of light and shadow, stretching across the stars like a living nightmare. Both fleets aligned side by side, preparing for impact. As the storm drew closer, Leon looked at the Queen's ship through the window. Her vessel glowed brighter, its energy flowing like liquid silver. Over the comms, Saralith's voice came through, calm but firm. Captain Hayes, she said, if we survive this, I wish to ask you another question. Leon managed a small smile despite the chaos around him. I'll be here to answer it. Good, she replied. Then hold fast, human. The storm is upon us. And as the two fleets faced the storm together, neither knew how much this single moment would change their fates, and the bond forming quietly between one human and one alien queen. The storm came like a monster made of light and shadow. Every star in the nearby sky seemed to vanish as the dark energy wave rolled closer. Both the Odyssey and the Thalara fleet prepared for impact, their shields glowing like bright cocoons against the darkness. Captain Leon Hayes stood at the command center, eyes fixed on the main screen. The swirling black mass looked endless, twisting lightning, glowing streaks, and clouds that moved like living things. Status? Leon called out. Commander Iris Valen's hands flew over the controls. Shields at full power, engines stable, but we're picking up strong magnetic interference. Communications may cut off any moment. Dr. Marcus added, That energy storm isn't natural, Captain. It's more like a field of dark matter, unstable, unpredictable. Leon looked at the screen again. We hold position and stay close to the Thalara flagship. If we lose contact, we'll follow their signal. Understood, Iris said. The intercom crackled suddenly, and a calm, clear voice filled the room. This is Queen Saralith of the Thalara Dominion. Captain Hayes, do you hear me? Loud and clear, Leon replied. The storm has already consumed one of our escort ships, Saralith said. We must connect our energy fields. Alone, neither of us will survive. Leon hesitated only for a second. Do it. We'll link shields. A beam of blue light shot from the Thalara flagship toward the Odyssey. For a moment, the ship shook. Then the system stabilized. Both ships' energy barriers merged into one glowing field that surrounded them like a single bright shell. The storm hit. The entire vessel trembled. Lights flickered, every console flashed warning symbols. Outside, lightning-like energy slammed against the shield, shaking both ships violently. Power levels dropping fast, Iris shouted. 30% and falling. Redirect auxiliary energy, Leon ordered. Keep the shield balanced. The crew worked frantically. Sparks flew from the ceiling. The sound of the storm filled the ship, deep rumbles and strange echoes like whispers of 1,000 voices. Leon gripped the rail tightly. Odyssey, to Serenity's crown. Status? Saralith's voice came back, strained but steady. Holding and barely. The shield integrity is falling. We must create a stabilizer between our ships. How? Leon asked. By using your reactor's pulse frequency, she said. Our systems can mirror it to create harmony between both energies. Iris frowned. That could overload our core. Leon looked at her, then back at the comm. We'll risk it. Send me your calculations, Saralith. Transmitting now, she replied. The next few minutes felt endless. Every part of the Odyssey shook, but the crew kept fighting. Human engineers and Thalara scientists exchanged data through the link, adjusting frequencies, aligning patterns. Slowly, the trembling began to ease. Then, without warning, the storm intensified. A massive surge hit the Thalara flagship directly, tearing through part of its shield. Serenity's crown is losing stability, Iris shouted. They're going down. Leon's heart pounded. Get me a visual. The main screen flickered. The alien ship's hull was cracking with light. It was being dragged toward the heart of the storm. The shield connection began to break apart. Captain, Dr. Marcus yelled. If the link collapses, both ships will be destroyed. Leon didn't think twice. Prepare the shuttle. I'm going over there. Iris spun toward him. What? You can't go out there. That storm will tear the shuttle apart. If their shield generator fails, we lose them, and us with them. Leon said firmly. Someone has to stabilize it manually. She stared at him, then nodded reluctantly. You've got 10 minutes before the radiation gets lethal. Leon grabbed his helmet. Then I'd better hurry. The small shuttle launched from the Odyssey, pushing against the raging storm. The entire craft rattled as if it were flying through fire. Lightning danced across its surface. Leon's hands gripped the controls tightly, sweat running down his face. Saralith, he called through the comm. I'm on my way. Guide me in. Her calm voice answered, Your courage is gone beyond measure, Captain. Follow the beacon light, I will open a path. From the distance, a line of bright blue light cut through the dark, the Thalara's landing corridor. Leon followed it, forcing the shuttle closer. Each second felt like an hour. Finally, he burst through the energy barrier and crashed into the docking bay, sparks flying. The shuttle skidded to a halt. Leon stumbled out, coughing, and saw the Thalara guards rushing to help him. Take me to the Queen, he shouted. They led him through dark halls filled with flickering blue light. The ship groaned around them, metal twisting like a wounded creature. When they reached the control chamber, Saralith was there, standing beside a giant crystal core that glowed faintly, her face pale but determined. Captain Hayes, she said as he entered, you should not have come. And let your ship be destroyed? Not a chance, Leon said. What do we need to do? Saralith pointed to a broken energy conduit. The stabilizer must be reconnected, but it requires manual alignment from both sides. One here, one aboard your ship. Leon nodded. I'll do it here. My crew can handle the other end. You would risk your life for this? She asked softly. He smiled faintly. You already know the answer. For a second, her silver eyes shone brighter. Then she moved beside him, guiding his hands to the glowing panels. Together, they worked in silence, adjusting the energy flow. The hum of the core grew stronger, steadier. Then the Queen suddenly stumbled, clutching her side. Leon caught her before she fell. The impact had thrown her earlier. She was weak. Saralith, stay with me, he said urgently. I am fine, she whispered. Just focus on the alignment. But Leon shook his head. Not without you. She looked up at him. And for the first time, the calm mask she always wore faded. You humans are strange, she said softly. You risk everything for others. You barely know us, yet you act without hesitation. Leon smiled. That's what makes us human. They completed the alignment together. The core glowed bright, spreading light across the chamber. Outside, the storm began to weaken. The combined energy field expanded again, protecting both fleets. From the Odyssey, Iris's voice came through the comm. "Captain, it's working. The field is stabilizing." Leon exhaled in relief. "Good work, everyone." The Queen looked at him, her eyes reflecting the light of the core. "You saved us, Captain Hayes. My people and I owe you everything." "You don't owe me anything," Leon said. "We did this together." Saralith tilted her head slightly. "Still, I find myself asking a question once more." Leon blinked. "A question?" Her lips curved into a small, tired smile. "Are you still single?" Leon couldn't help it. He laughed. Even in the middle of near disaster, she had found a way to lighten the moment. "I suppose I am," he said, "though my schedule seems to be getting complicated." Saralith laughed softly, a sound like soft wind and music combined. "Then I will consider that answer. Hopeful." Hours later, the storm finally passed. The dark clouds faded, revealing stars again. The Odyssey and the Thalara ships floated peacefully, their hulls scarred but intact. The human crew cheered. Humanity had faced one of the deadliest storms in the galaxy and survived with help from their new allies. Leon stood beside Saralith on the observation deck of her ship. Through the window, he could see both fleets glowing faintly under the light of a distant star. "You know," he said quietly, "Earth has storms like that too. Not as dangerous, but they remind us that we're small compared to the universe." Saralith looked at him thoughtfully. "And yet you stand against them anyway." "That's what we do," Leon said with a smile. "We keep moving forward." She turned to face him fully. "Then perhaps that is what the Thalara must learn from you. Not just your technology, but your courage." Leon chuckled. "Careful. If you start saying nice things like that, people might think you like humans." Her eyes sparkled with amusement. "Perhaps I do." They both laughed quietly. For the first time since their meeting, there was no tension, only peace, and something new growing between them. Outside, the last fragments of the storm drifted away like dying embers. The danger had passed, but Leon knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had proven its strength, and the Thalara had found something they had long lost: hope. As the two ships sailed through the calm after the storm, Saralith turned to Leon one last time and said softly, "We survived because we stood together. Maybe that is what the stars wanted us to learn." Leon nodded slowly. "Maybe so." He looked out the window at the endless sky and whispered, "Together." The days after the void surge were quiet but heavy with unspoken thoughts. Both the human ship Odyssey and the Thalara fleet floated near a red dwarf star, slowly repairing their wounds. Burn marks and twisted metal were reminders of what they had faced together. Yet inside those scars lived something new: trust. Captain Leon Hayes stood at the large window of the command deck, watching repair drones move like tiny fireflies between ships. He felt proud of his crew and their courage, but deep inside, he also felt a strange worry: the silence from the Thalara side. Queen Saralith had not contacted him for 3 days. Every morning he expected a message, or at least a signal, but nothing came. The alien frequencies remained cold. Even the usual greetings between the fleets had stopped. Leon had a bad feeling that something was happening behind closed doors. "Captain," said Commander Ruiz, his second in command, "the Lyra communication channels are blocked again. Looks like they're having internal meetings. Maybe their council is deciding what to do next." Leon nodded slowly. "I was afraid of that. They lost ships in the storm. Some of their people may blame us," Ruiz sighed. "You risked your life to save their queen. If that's not proof of friendship, I don't know what is." Leon gave a weak smile. Politics doesn't always care about friendship. The silent council fare away on the main Thalara flagship Celestis. Queen Saralith sat inside her glowing throne room. Blue light moved through the walls like living veins. Around her stood 8 tall members of the High Council, old and wise Thalara, who carried the weight of their people's survival. One of them, a silver-skinned elder named Valoran, spoke firmly. "Your Majesty, we cannot stay here. The humans are too emotional, too unpredictable. Their technology is primitive. Aligning with them could bring danger to our entire fleet." Saralith listened quietly. Her golden eyes shimmered with calm patience. "Captain Leon Hayes saved my life. Without him, we would not be having this discussion at all." "Gratitude is noble," another counselor replied. "But gratitude does not guarantee safety. They are still a young species. We must not let compassion guide our strategy." The Queen's wings fluttered slightly, showing her discomfort. "You see them as dangerous because they are different. But difference does not mean threat. I have seen courage in them, a kind of strength that our people have forgotten." The room fell silent. Valoran stepped closer. "Your Majesty, our mission is survival, not sentiment. The humans want us to share our technology. They want us to stay near their solar system. Soon they will want more. That is how lesser races always behave when they find greater power." Saralith's gaze hardened. "I do not call them lesser." Her voice echoed through the room, quiet but powerful. The counselors lowered their heads, but their expressions remained stubborn. After a long moment, Valoran spoke again, softer this time. "Then you must decide, my queen. Will you follow your heart or protect your people?" Saralith closed her eyes. Inside, she felt torn. She could still see Leon's face during the storm. His determination, his calm bravery when he guided his damaged shuttle through waves of death. That was not the act of a dangerous creature. That was the act of a friend, and maybe something more. The human offerback on the Odyssey. A new message arrived from Earth Command. The humans wanted to make an official offer, to invite the Thalara to use Mars as a temporary base while searching for a new home. It would be a historic alliance between two species. When Leon read the message, he smiled. This could change everything, but Ruiz frowned. Or make things worse. If their council already doubts us, they might see this as a trick. Leon thought for a long moment, then said, "Sometimes, honesty is the best risk." He decided to contact the Queen directly. Even if she didn't respond, he had to try. "Queen Saralith," he said into the communicator. "This is Captain Leon Hayes. I hope you're safe and recovering. I know your people have hard choices to make, but I wanted you to know. Earth wants to help. Mars is open to your fleet. You can rest there, rebuild, or even stay. No conditions, no tricks. Just friendship." He ended the message and waited. No reply came that day. The private meeting. That night, when most of the crew had gone to rest, Leon sat alone in the observation deck. The stars outside shimmered quietly, endless and cold. He wondered if Saralith had already decided to leave. Then suddenly a soft hum filled the room. A glowing blue portal formed near the far wall, and out stepped Saralith herself, surrounded by shimmering light. Leon stood, surprised, but relieved. "You came." "I had to," she said gently. "My council forbids further contact, but I needed to see you before we make our final choice." Leon looked at her face. There was sadness there, hidden behind royal calm. "They don't trust us." "No," she admitted. "They think your people will bring war or dependency." "They fear your passion," Leon sighed. "They might be right about the passion part." "We care deeply, sometimes too much," Saralith smiled faintly. "That is what I admire about you." They walked together along the glass floor, looking out at the stars. "Do you remember the first thing you said to me?" Leon asked softly. Saralith's eyes sparkled. "Yes, are you single?" He laughed quietly. "I thought you were joking." "I was not," she said, smiling. "In my culture, that question means, are you open to bond? But now I see the human meaning as well. It is endearing." For a long time, they said nothing. Only the soft hum of the ship filled the air. Finally, Leon turned to her. "If you leave, I understand. But if you stay, I promise humanity will treat your people as equals." Saralith looked down, thinking deeply. "You risked your life for me without any promise of reward. You speak with honesty, even when it brings danger. You humans are strange, Captain Hayes, but your strangeness feels like truth." She reached into her robe and took out a small silver crystal, glowing faintly blue. "This contains part of my ship's memory, a living fragment of our history and knowledge. I give it to you as a sign that our connection was real." Leon took the crystal carefully. "I'll protect it." Saralith nodded, her wings folding behind her. "Tomorrow our fleet will leave this system." Leon's heart sank. "So this is goodbye." She looked at him with gentle eyes. "No, this is a choice. Goodbyes are final. Choices can change." Before she stepped back into her portal, she added quietly, "Wait for the next sunrise." And then she was gone. The long night. The rest of the night passed slowly. Leon couldn't sleep. He held the silver crystal in his hand, watching the faint light pulse like a heartbeat. He wondered if he had done enough, if he had said the right words. The next morning, the Thalara ships began to move. One by one, the glowing vessels turned toward the far edge of the system. The humans watched silently as the magnificent fleet started to vanish into hyperspace. Ruiz looked at Leon sadly. Looks like they made their decision. Leon didn't answer. He just watched the stars fade. Hours passed. The space around Mars was quiet again. Humanity's first contact seemed over. Brief but unforgettable. Leon placed the silver crystal on the console, whispering to himself, "I waited, Saralith. I waited for sunrise." The signal then, as the first rays of the nearby star touched the edge of the Odyssey, a sudden signal appeared on the radar. Ruiz blinked in surprise. "Captain!" "Multiple readings. Hundreds of ships. They're coming back." Leon ran to the window. Outside, space shimmered as the Thalara fleet reappeared in orbit, not leaving, but forming a great circle above Mars. Their ships began to connect beams of light, building a huge glowing structure, like a city in the sky. A message came through, clear and warm in Saralith's voice, "Captain Leon Hayes. The Council has agreed to my decision. We will not run anymore. Humanity has shown us courage and compassion. We choose trust. We choose to build beside you." Leon smiled, unable to stop the emotion rising in his chest. "Welcome home, Saralith." And as the red planet glowed beneath them, two civilizations, human and Thalara, began a new chapter. A future built not on fear, but on friendship and hope. Above it all, in her flagship, Saralith looked toward Earth and whispered, almost to herself, "Next time I ask him if he's single, I'll mean it the human way." The sight above Mars was unlike anything humanity had ever seen. The Thalara fleet, glowing like 1,000 stars, had formed a ring around the red planet. Their ships linked together with silver energy lines, creating a living city that floated in the blackness of space. The humans called it Aurora Haven. From the surface of Mars, telescopes and drones recorded every moment. On Earth, billions watched the live broadcast. It was the first time in history that two species had chosen unity instead of fear. Inside, the human flagship Odyssey, Captain Leon Hayes stood on the command bridge, speechless. His crew was cheering, some even crying. Commander Ruiz clapped him on the shoulder and said, "You did it, Captain, they came back." Leon smiled quietly. "No, Commander, we did it. Humanity did it." But deep inside, he knew someone else deserved more credit, the one who had chosen trust over safety, Queen Saralith. The message from the Queen later that day, a glowing blue transmission appeared on the Odyssey's screen. The familiar image of Queen Saralith filled the room. Behind her, the Thalara city shimmered with light and motion, like a heart beating in space. "Captain Leon Hayes," she said, her calm voice carrying a warmth that even the machines could not hide. "The Thalara Council has accepted Earth's offer. We will build together. Our ships will provide technology, and your people will share your world's spirit. Together, we will create a new home for both our kinds." The bridge erupted in applause. Leon nodded respectfully. "Your Majesty, on behalf of all humans, welcome to our system. We are honored to call you our friends." Saralith's golden eyes softened. "Friends, yes, and partners. This dawn marks not just survival, but hope." After the transmission ended, Leon leaned on the console and whispered, "You kept your promise." Building a future. The following weeks were filled with hard work and wonder. The Thalara engineers worked side by side with human scientists to create the first joint colony modules on Mars. The air was thin, the ground cold, but both species shared the same excitement. They built green domes filled with oxygen trees, from Thalara's old homeworld and human-designed solar systems to power the structures. Children on Earth watched the news every night, seeing humans and tall glowing aliens shaking hands, laughing and working together. The world's nations stopped arguing for a while, amazed by what unity could achieve. Leon became the official ambassador between both civilizations. It was not an easy job. There were disagreements about resources, safety rules, and cultural misunderstandings. But every time trouble appeared, Leon remembered Saralith's words. Difference does not mean threat. One day, while inspecting a new habitat dome, Leon looked up at the sky. He saw a bright light move across the horizon, the Celestis, Saralith's flagship, descending toward Mars' orbit. His heart skipped a beat. He knew she was coming to the surface. The reunion. When the shuttle landed, a soft blue mist surrounded it. The ramp opened and Queen Saralith stepped out, her elegant form shining under the sun of Mars. The dust swirled around her silver robes, but she didn't seem to notice. Her eyes searched the small crowd and found Leon. He approached her with a smile. "Welcome to Mars, Your Majesty. I hope the trip wasn't too hard." She smiled gently. "For me, it was not. For my council, perhaps more. They still find your atmosphere unpredictable." Leon laughed softly. "We humans have that effect on people." They walked together along the red sand, surrounded by curious engineers and drones recording every step. Saralith looked up at the sky. "This world is beautiful in its own way. Harsh, but alive, much like your species." "Maybe that's why we feel at home here," Leon said. "It reminds us that survival takes effort." After a moment, Saralith turned to him. Her tone was softer now. "Do you remember what I told you before I left?" Leon nodded. "You said, 'Wait for the next sunrise.'" She smiled. "And you did." They stood in silence for a while, watching the distant sun sink behind the red hills. Two beings from two worlds, no longer strangers, not yet something more, but connected by choice. Voices of doubt. But peace never came without challenge. Some humans on Earth began to worry. They feared the Thalara might take control, or that sharing technology would make humanity dependent. News channels filled with debates. Protesters carried signs reading, "Earth first," and "Don't trust aliens." At the same time, within the Thalara fleet, some counselors accused Saralith of becoming too human. They claimed her emotions clouded her judgment. The fragile alliance stood on uncertain ground. Leon worked day and night, trying to calm both sides. He gave speeches, shared stories, and reminded everyone of the storm they had survived together. "We didn't win by fear," he said. "We won by trust." Saralith supported him, addressing her people through a public broadcast. "The humans are not perfect," she said, "but neither are we. Together, our imperfections can create balance." Her courage slowly began to heal the divide. People started to believe again. A test of unity. Months later, the new colony faced its first true crisis. A sudden meteor storm struck Mars' orbit. Several Thalara ships were damaged, and debris threatened to hit the surface habitats. Without waiting for orders, Leon and his crew launched emergency shuttles to help. Thalara pilots joined them, flying side by side through fields of burning rock. They worked as one team, humans guiding with quick thinking, Thalara using their advanced shields. The operation lasted 8 hours. When it was over, no lives were lost. As the last meteor burned out, Saralith's voice came through the comms. "Captain Leon Hayes, once again your people have shown who they are. You fight for others as if they were your own." Leon smiled, exhausted but proud. "That's just what friends do." The gift of trust. After the storm, the Thalara Council called for a ceremony on Mars. It would mark the official beginning of the alliance of two suns, named after Earth's sun and the Thalara's lost star. The ceremony took place under a great glass dome, with humans and aliens standing side by side. Saralith stood on the stage, her presence graceful and bright. Leon stood next to her, wearing a simple Navy uniform. When it was her turn to speak, Saralith looked at the crowd and said, "When I first met Captain Hayes, I asked a question that confused many. Are you single?" It was meant as a greeting of openness, but perhaps it was destiny. That question began a bond between our worlds. Laughter filled the room. Even Leon smiled shyly. Saralith continued, That question was never just about companionship. It meant, are you open to new connections? Are you ready to share your path? Today, both our species have answered, yes. She turned to Leon and placed her hand over her heart. On behalf of the Thalara, I thank you. Not for saving me in the storm, but for believing when no one else did. Leon bowed slightly. You gave us hope, Your Majesty. That's something worth believing in. The room erupted in applause as the two leaders pressed their hands together, a symbol of unity between Earth and the stars. A quiet moment. That night, after the celebrations, Leon stood alone outside the dome, looking at the twin lights in the sky. Earth's blue glow and the Thalara city shining above. He heard soft footsteps and turned. Sarilith was there, wearing a simple silver cloak. She stood beside him without speaking for a while. Finally, she said, You humans like to look at the stars. Do you ever wonder if they look back? Leon smiled. Maybe they do. And maybe one of them smiled today. Sarilith tilted her head. You think so? I know so. For a long moment, they simply watched the stars. Then quietly, Sarilith asked again, this time with gentle humor in her voice. Captain Leon Hayes, are you single? Leon laughed softly. I guess that depends on what you mean this time, she smiled. The human meaning, of course. He looked at her, smiling too. Then, no. Not anymore. The New Dawn years later, Aurora Haven grew into a shining city where humans and Thalara lived together. Children of both species played under the same domes, learned the same languages, and dreamed of the same sky. From that unity came new inventions, new music, and even new friendships that no one could have imagined. And whenever people told the AEE story of how it all began, they always laughed and said, it started with a question, a strange, funny, perfect question. Because when the alien queen looked at a human captain and asked, Are you single? She didn't just open her heart. She opened a future where two worlds could finally become one.